All right. We can begin, we can start and initiate our dialogue as we usually do. We convene on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. Um, I originally planned there to be a romance video this week, and the video was going to be about how a lot of times when you speak to a woman, you don't know how many options she has. And I was going to show proof in a couple of instances because I don't have most of the screenshots for this stuff due to the like large passages of time where there's certain stuff I can't recover from websites and text messages that have long been removed. But I was going to talk about how there have been at least 5 or 6 different instances where I've been clued in on the fact that some woman I've spoken to for the purpose of getting with has some excessive number of men also speaking to her. And I was going to talk about how when people do the self improvement nonsense, this like thing that you're supposed to do to make yourself more appealing to women, they often leave out the stuff that's out of your control. And one of those things is when the person you're interested in has other people who are interested in them, which makes it more difficult because if the person has some wide array of options, it's harder for you to stand out. Just to give an example, in the video, I mentioned how there's a person who posted an R for R on Reddit, which is like, I don't want to call it a booty call, but it's sort of a person communicating that they want to speak to someone of that's whether that person's a male or female, that they want to talk to somebody. And on this website, Reddit, usually people don't post pictures of themselves. And on this account, this person, just by typing a little paragraph and their age and saying that they were a female, were able to get not one, not five, not 10, not 20, not 30, not 40, but 50 men to message her. And again, the reason this is disturbing is because on that same website, if you post one as a male, nobody says anything. No, they don't care. But anytime, and the reason you have to also kind of we play this stuff out and you think about it. A lot of times people will say a woman is out of your league based off of the way she looks, or they'll talk. That's why they like make this big deal about physical appearance. But this woman who these people did not know what she looked like was able to get 50 men to try talking to her. So do you see how if just the idea that this person is a woman is able to get that many men to just jump onto that person as far as making an attempt to speak to them, do you see how it's so stacked against you that you in your totality, right? Because if you go on a dating app, usually a person will post a picture of himself. You as a man might never get swiped right on or any of these other terms, but a random woman who doesn't even post a picture of herself is able to get, again, not one, not five, not 10, not 20, 30, 40. And if you don't believe me, I have the screenshot of it in the video. That was so disturbing. And it just, again, when I see stuff like that, I feel very disgusted that people pretend that, they can understand why I would think this is just a complete waste of time. And I make the point in the video that if me not talking to women was like a really a bad thing, you would actually see women on my videos complaining that I wasn't speaking to them anymore. But instead, usually when there's opposition to my position, I didn't mean to make that rhyme. It's men who are like taking the place of being antagonistic. And it never made any sense to me because I don't understand why supposedly straight men would be bothered by another man not talking to women. Like it has no effect on them, or at least it shouldn't. And evidently it doesn't if the people who are actually affected by it aren't complaining. I have not seen a single woman in the last 3 years go on a video of mine complaining about me not talking to them anymore. You might get one comment from a woman for every like 100 comments by men. They just don't do it. And when I see something like that, I'm not really convinced that me as a single person, just one person, right, saying, I'm done with this, is this big gradual shift that affects people to where they have to type paragraphs and get all upset. But yeah, I was going to do that video, and then I thought about the I word. So I don't ever say the group's name, but you know what group I'm talking about. And I was going to make comparisons between that and the N word and make the case that whereas the N word is a racial slur, the I word is a romance slur. And for that video, I was going to have screenshots of all of the just different times people will use the I word to describe a man that they don't agree with. And I was going to talk about how when people use a word like that, it's very evident that it is a derogatory term, at least to them. So I don't understand why anyone who's had the misfortune of having what I call the romance plot tumor would want to be called that or considered that, like call themselves that willingly. Because again, if you when we show the screenshots in the video, you're going to see how people will use it to insult another person that they don't agree with. They even use it on people who are married. Like the term is supposed to mean men that are single who don't want to be that are part of a group online, and they're using it towards men that have like wives and kids. Like I've seen at least three instances on Twitter alone where men who are married have been called that term, and I thought that was really funny. And also, it goes to like why I said the term doesn't mean anything, but it also is something that whenever it's meant to mean something, it's usually negative. So I'll talk about that word this week. I wrote most of the script over the last 2 days. I was surprised by how much I had to say and how much of it was being done in a rather quick fashion because I started to kind of I don't want to say lose my train of thought, but have writer's block when I was writing the other one I described first. So I think we might get that video by Tuesday, depending on if I want to put all the screenshots into the stuff, because that's usually the only part I get irritated by the screenshots and recording the script and cutting out where I have the stutters and I get my it just sucks too that I can't even take YouTube like seriously as a thing to actually want to do because you'll do one video and you'll get like over 100 views, and that's all right. And then you'll do another video the next day, and you'll get like 20 or 10 views. Like it's so unstable, and the only reason even doing this stuff in a quote unquote professional manner crossed my mind is because the U.S. is just so trash when it comes to being willing to hire people. So, victim of circumstance. No, if you look at some of the things that are said to me, you would almost believe that there is no pandemic and there aren't mass layoffs and people aren't getting fired every day. Because what it is that the people who are saying this stuff to me haven't been affected by it, as far as like being laid off themselves, so they're not sympathetic, and they have to have their own like they have to refute reality. No, it just sucks. Now when I fill out the applications, I'm like, oh, here's another one I can stack on top of the never hear anything back from pile. Because I remember last year when I was phone I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this many, and then somebody will say something, not anymore. Oh, I know it is. They were hit very hard there at the beginning, and then your governor. Well, I guess just New York City by itself, but your governor's had got caught with his hands in a cookie jar. Not even just with the women, but also with underreporting the nursing home fatalities because he didn't want Trump to investigate them. I still don't. I'm not. I want proof because again, if someone did that to me, I would want people to have proof. I wouldn't want someone to say, "Oh, this happened 3 years ago, and now we all believe it." I just don't like him as a politician. Um, but again, I'm not gonna, try to let that cloud the judgment of, like, the new jury system of guilty until proven innocent. It's a really dangerous system. It seems like everybody's getting accused now. Biden's been accused. Trump's been accused. What's his name? Moore in Alabama got accused, and then the women after the election just vanished. So I don't know. It just seems like now, if you're in a prominent position, you can just expect some like random chicks to show up and say, "He did that to me." But I do think it's politically motivated. Yeah, I don't. It's hard for me to believe that they would just coincidentally come out right as he's underwater for the nursing home fatality underreportings. And then they're trying to recall my governor, Newsom. And I was just thinking to myself, you guys really believe that in a blue state, who's only elected what, one Republican governor in the last 20 plus years with the Terminator, you really think you're going to defeat the incumbent Democratic governor and put in someone from the other party? It'll be the most amazing thing ever. That'll be one election to remember. You're like, against all odds, the Republicans finally defeated a Democratic governor for the first time in 12 years. Praise the Lord. No, I don't think that'll happen. I think if he gets recalled, he'll just win again. I remember in Wisconsin, they recalled the hot dog vendor, Walker, and he survived. I survived the recall election. I should be president. Something on that level is the only thing that could capture people's attention again since Trump is gone. They were all swooning over him for his little CPAC speech. I still think that him talking about running again is what do you call it? Just a publicity stunt. I think as we get more into the, I hate to say it, the Biden era, and Cruz and Cotton and Rubio and the rest of them start making names for themselves, you'll probably hear less about Trump. Could fulfill Trump's prophecy if he wanted, and most people wouldn't notice. I mean, it was real fun to watch Don Jr. pretend that Trump didn't have the same 7 wars as Obama. Like they just stopped for 4 years and then Biden got in and resumed them, even though that wasn't what happened. No, I think his 2024 campaign is just going to be a retread of the. Remember the campaign to get back to like stop the steal, and he had the website people were donating to him to help him get the results certified in his favor, and nothing came out of it except a stupid insurrection at the Capitol on the 6th of January that left 5 people deceased. Which proves some people really are above the law. Yeah, everybody knows that. The only place where politicians act corrupt and they actually go to jail is Illinois. They've had like 4 governors go to jail, and Jesse Jackson's son went to jail too over there, which was really crazy because he was supposed to be a leading contender for Obama's Senate replacement after he won the presidency. So outside of that state, you really don't see people who are corrupt and in office go to prison ever. For whatever reason, Illinois. There was this one Republican at the the 2016 RNC, and he said that in Illinois you serve 2 terms, one in office and one in jail. And I just always remembered that because that state has, I think, the biggest record of just politicians going to prison. Imagine if you organized a protest through your channel and told us to go there. Surely you'd be in a cell right now. Yeah, well, like I said, protests are one thing, but you know, that wasn't just a protest. They destroyed property. They were screaming death threats. It's just if people want to like go to Washington and hold up signs, that's much different from advancing on the Capitol and pushing police out of the way and invading private property. I don't support that at all. Like they could have had a whole afternoon of just Trump supporters, like thousands of them just standing out there with the stop the steal signs. And I would have had no complaints or problem with that. I would have thought they were delusional for thinking that he somehow won. But again, it would have been much better as opposed to what they did, which was violence and, uh, you know, people believing in a fantasy. I don't think they're done either. I just think they're probably, if they try something again, there's going to be much more security. Hey, last year the virus caught us off guard. This year the people caught us off guard at the Capitol. I think that the FBI or whoever will turn one of these wanted guys into I don't say that. I don't want to get too morbid on here. It's already been depressing enough a week as is. Like when I found out that woman, right, had not posted a picture of herself, just a number, her age, and the fact that she was a female and had 50 men message her, that's really depressing. Because again, we know that women barely approach men anyway. So even if you put yourself out there and have all these things that people on the computer tell you to have, you still probably won't have. I mean, forget 50 chicks in one day, 50 chicks in your whole lifetime. Be like, oh yeah, I'm so interested in you and I want to talk. I already showed the screenshot of the one from Scotland that drove me crazy. Like in a span of 3 days, you go from saying I'm so excited for you to hear my voice for the first time to I don't think this will work out for many reasons, and then you vanish. You should have seen my face when I woke up that what was that a morning. Oh my god. Well, Vince, you took the antagonistic side of this argument because I always said that if you as a man have to put yourself out there and you still can barely get anybody to talk to you, even if you have some that say they're interested, and then someone who hides their face, they don't even know what she looks like, and it was half of 100 of them came to talk to her. The last girl that told me that, I said, well, I was going to tell you the same thing, but didn't want to hurt your feelings. She didn't take it well. Well, in one of my videos, I was talking about this one that, yes, they're so desperate, but it's really depressing because it so I've already talked about how much more difficult this stuff is if you're a man compared to a woman, but it's like they were attracted to a person they didn't even see. Like they were that willing to speak to someone they didn't know what she looked like or anything about her other than this little paragraph. 500 for a pic of you. Oh, I remember that. Now she thinks she's a nine piece. When you describe it like that, they sound mentally ill. Well, again, my listen, on this website, I have been attacked for my physical appearance, which again has nothing to do with refuting any of the points I make. So the position by these people is that apparently you have to be considered physically attractive to get someone to like you back. But this is a woman who they didn't even see what she looked like, which would be fine if it was just a few of them, but it's literally dozens of men just swarming to this person, not knowing anything about them. Include like how they talk about on these dating websites. Oh well, if you're not attractive, you won't get anybody to swipe right on you or to message you. They didn't know what she looked like, and all of them were willing to take that leap of faith. But if you're a man and you show yourself, you gotta hope and pray that one or two chicks will like you. Well, look, I already said it's the Twilight Zone, so maybe it is mentally ill. No idea which. No. And Vince, again, if you don't believe me, in the video that's coming out, maybe like in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I have the screenshots where she sent me screenshots of them and then like mentioned the number of different men who were messaging her and said she had over 300 screenshots of them. That's why I said this is like a cartoon. Like, if you're a man, you barely get anybody to say anything to you. And even if they say something to you, they might not actually like you back. They're just playing with you. And then if you're a woman, you get dozens of men to throw themselves at you, even if they don't see what you look like. No, not even that. All she said was how old she was and what state she was in. And again, not one, not five, not 10, not 20, not 30, not 40, but 50 men approached her. And look, you can call me not confident, but I truly believe I could be famous, like world known, right? For like, I don't know, like politics or something, and I could have a whole bunch of money, and I could be, like just you could have all the muscles, all that crap, and I still wouldn't have 50 women approach me in that rapid succession of time, or possibly in my entire lifetime because they're so used to just having people throw themselves at them, they don't make the first move ever, even if they find you attractive. That's why when I had the one broad talking about at some point you will notice a different caliber of chick. Well, like what? They don't approach anybody. Like there are videos of women on this website saying that they don't approach because they're scared, which I have no sympathy for because like I said, I've been if I did that or made a video saying I'm scared of approaching because I don't want to get turned down, people would insult me and call me all kind of names. If more men made it a habit to say no, this would be fixed pretty quick. Yeah, like with me, for example, I don't pretend I'm making some big change, but unless a woman approaches me, nothing happens. Like I'm not on any of those websites, so I'm not making the problem any worse than it is. Cut the attention supply off, sanctions. I'm telling you, if like a majority of men just didn't talk to women for like a month, they would go insane. Like if the ones that were in relationships or like were on their social media just stopped saying anything for 4 weeks, they're like, "Hey, what happened? Why are you doing this to me? I don't understand." They would get a little tiny taste of what it's like to to constantly be told that you're a piece of trash because some random person from the opposite sex doesn't like you. Yeah, none. Dude, there was one woman who approached me, and I went on her Instagram after she sent it to me, and she had these men in her comment section talking about, "Oh my God, you're so hot. Oh yeah." And I was thinking to myself, isn't it sad that you sat here and wrote all that thirsty crap to her, and she'd rather talk to a man, yours truly, who never wrote any of that to her, like like all that effort for nothing. Oh, if they got 7 likes, they would notice. I remember there was this one classmate I had that somebody said was ugly, and she had I didn't think she was. I thought she was all right. She had 200 likes on this Facebook picture of her, and I was thinking to myself, imagine if they only had like two or three. Like with all her hundreds of friends between her and her mother, if that picture only had like two, three, four likes, how much that would like be frustrating. Music Fiend decided to make his reappearance. No, Vince, if they had just a tiny slither of what men go through, they would go nuts. And again, the point of that video is to tell you that even if you don't, because like I said, I don't ask these women how many men they talk to, but there have been multiple instances where they either outright say this is how many I speak to, or they hint to it. So even if most of them or all of them don't have a bunch of men talking to them, a lot of them still have a whole bunch of men that like them or approaching them or whatever. Like the one broad in the video, I mentioned how there was this woman I used to talk to during the election before the last one, the 2016 one, and she was posting political stuff on her page like every day, and she had maybe four or five pictures of herself. So her account was mainly about politics, right? Talking about the news, kind of like how I do. Um, and she mentioned on her channel, not channel, on her account after she put up a picture of herself that she had had 10 men ask her on a date. And I'm like, this is not someone who regularly posts pictures of themselves. This is someone who talks about the news and just a couple of pictures of herself. 10 guys. No, there have been multiple instances where they let you peek behind the curtain and see how many men they speak to. They give you that little whiff of all the attention. Hey, with one of those broads, they actually said that because I remember I said that like when people come on here and attack me for the way I look, they're basically confirming that they think a majority or all women are shallow, which is more sexist than anything I've ever said. And there's what do you call it? There's a chick, a woman who said, "Oh yeah, your personality matters, but in the long term, because ever since dating apps became a thing, people will focus on someone's appearance first, and then that's why there are so many men who can't get their foot through the door with a woman. But you know, if you get one to speak to you and you have a personality that's nice, it still matters, but it's in the long term." And I was thinking to myself, because the same buffoon who said this, I spoke to literally for 9 or 10 months and got the same result of a no that I would have gotten from talking from just going up to some random chick and saying, "Hey, can we go on a date?" Like you would have gotten the same result with someone who didn't get to know you or know your personality, whatever, that you got with someone who apparently liked your personality enough to speak to you for a majority of a year. See, that's why I said people don't ever consider the nuances of this stuff, because if your personality mattered so much in the long term as she was claiming it was, you wouldn't have men that get rejected by women they speak to for weeks or months that tell them about how they find them to be so funny and we have a connection and all this other crap. Your personality matters, but in the long term. So what does that even mean? I think it's time to accept that American women are loose and fly to the North Pole. Well, look, I don't bother with them anymore. I accept it that this is just what they do. They either come to you and pretend that they like you just to say no when you want to do something with them, or they, say they're not interested, which is just, like from the bat, which is much more preferable because it's not like this big waste of time. Hey, but like I said in that video, you either approach random women and get turned down, or you speak to one for weeks or months that talks about how much you mean to her and she likes you and your friends all this trash. And then when you ask them something as simple as going to see a film or eating somewhere together, it's too much. So either way, you just can't win. No, this chick stuff is literally like being a hamster on a wheel. That's why I put that in the video that it's Charlie Brown trying to kick the football, and every time he runs up, oh, I'm gonna kick it, I'm gonna kick it, and then she pulls out of the way. I don't like Music Fiend. He doesn't leave any comments on my videos. He likes to show up during streams. Yeah, I was gonna do another video on Murkowski, but I decided against. I might still do it today and then put it up tomorrow. And people are celebrating, oh, the stimulus package finally passed. Like, yeah, but the wage increase, the first one in over 10 years, got smacked up by Democrats in a Democratic Senate. Like, imagine how insane this is. If you vote for the Democrats, this is in Georgia, right? We'll give you a $2,000 stimulus check. And then right after the Democrats win in Georgia, here comes Manchin. I'm not voting for that. And nobody does anything to him. He is the only senator I've ever seen that keeps spitting in the face of his own party and just coast to re-election, and people get mad for like a day or two and then they get over it. Like, he's probably the most important Democratic senator like in the Senate right now, other than maybe Sanders. Like, because I can name more important votes and things he's done than Schumer, for example. Like, where he was the center of attention. He's just a really aggravating politician. And I wish more people would talk trash about him because all he does is ruin everything. He was he was the virus before the current virus. Hey, Music Fiend, imagine you vote for the Democrats to have the Senate, and then when they have the Senate, they can't pass liberal legislation because of other Democratic members. Like, the Democrats destroy their own legislation in a Senate that they can, because you know what it is, right? It's the yo-yo thing. So first it's, oh, we need the Senate, and then they fail to pass the thing people want. Oh, we need more seats, and then you vote for them for 8 more seats, and then, oh, those Democrats still don't make up the votes. We need even more seats, and it just keeps going and going. That's why when McCarthy said they're going to lose the House in the midterm for next year, I'm fully on board with that line of thinking. It makes sense. I mean, you got to remember, both Obama and Trump lost control of the House after their first midterm. Seems like a fractured party to me. Seems like a scam to me. Hey, vote for us so we can pass this bill that we can't pass because we have one or two members who don't want to pass it, and we're too chicken to tell them to suck it up and vote for this thing that people need, or we're gonna hate you forever. Nah, Manchin just he gets away with everything. He's like watching him is like having an older sibling that your parents just don't ever punish. My parents being the American voters, like, they don't care. It's just like, oh, we get mad at him in that moment, but we'll let him get away with whatever he wants. He is terrible. That's why I called him Joe the Joke. I see that Vince stopped commenting, he gave up, and so did Dio. They threw in the towel. I don't even know what Nancy he's talking about. Oh, okay, Pelosi. All right, I was see, because when I hear that name, there's a bunch of different ones that come up. No, she needs to go too. But I think what will, since this is supposed to be her last term as leader, hopefully we can it'd be so screwed up if this she only made it a 4-year term, like limited herself to 2 more terms as leader because she knows the Democrats are so awful, they're gonna probably only have the House for 2 terms. Every time I look at that like these old historic like political what's a good way of saying it? Those old political maps, I just think about how the Democrats really had the House for over 40 years until 94 and then they lost under Clinton. Like just ever since then it just keeps switching every couple of years. But they had it for 4 decades and then just dropped the ball. The Republican Revolution. Somebody should make like a 2, 3, 4 hour video on just how they were able to keep the House for that long because they need to regain that. And this is a dead chat. People over there passing out. Well, that's fine. I mean, I'm just I guess thinking about some of the stuff that I'm supposed to do this week because I do want to make the videos I described here. I just substituted one for the other though. But again, with the I word, it's really interesting to see it kind of just get used and just like every year become less and less a thing. It's kind of like no, I'm not going to use that because I might get demonetized. But um, again, it was originally supposed to mean men that are single that don't want to be that are part of a subculture. Like you have to be part of a group to identify as one, right? You have to congregate with other men who have the same problem. And then it's been used to describe men who just can't get with someone, just like singular individuals like myself, right? Which is I don't identify with the term because again, its actual defined meaning is hinged on you being part of a group. And if I don't identify with a group, then I can't be a member of a group unless somebody else says I am. And then if you go on Twitter, you have people using it to describe men that they disagree with. Like there was a woman who got upset over a video game using like one of the characters, the enemies saying get something. And then when people were calling her out for being so outraged over such a minor feature of the game, she started calling them the I word. Um, there's a political commentator that criticized AOC that was called the I word, even though he's married. But so you see how the word just it starts like losing meaning just when it's used in these instances because it's a derogatory term to refer to men by. Uh, and it is because you can't like if someone were to call you friend, there's no way of saying that would make you offended because it's not a term that has its meaning not defined. It's supposed to be a term of endearment, and there's no way to twist it or use it and offend somebody by saying it. Like if I say, "Music fiend, why don't you get out of here, pal?" You wouldn't get offended by that because it's again a term of endearment. It has a defined meaning, but the I word just it's used by some people to call themselves it, and then people will get offended or use it to offend other people that they disagree with, just like with the N word. That's why I said it's the N word is a racial slur, the I word is a romance slur, and we'll have more on that in the video. And then I'll show examples. I have all my screenshots at the ready. I just never thought I'd see the day that people would actually invent a word because from what I've heard, getting rejected, right? Like being denied by somebody else to like go on a date or become a couple or whatever just has always been around, not to the degree currently, but it's always been a thing. So apparently, if at any point in your life you're single and you don't want to be, you're now automatically inducted into this group. And again, it's a sexist term because there are women that complain about men all the time and who do, occasionally get rejected, and nobody goes around calling them, part of some romance group. It's so weird. But again, it goes back to this thing of how when you're a man who has trouble with getting a woman, there's this process online of dehumanizing you, of making you out to be a villain or an antagonist, and people on the computer. Because again, in real life, nobody calls me this. It's only online that these terms are used. People on the computer have to be as antagonistic as possible. So maybe they don't call you that term, but they still consider it you that anyway. Um, or they try to, like create fan fiction. So I had one guy one time, for example, say, "Oh, if because I was like, I'm not going to do your little gym regiment BS. That's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to, do some extraneous amount of exercise to maybe get somebody to go on a date." And his response was, "Well, if you've been doing the same thing and it isn't working, then maybe you should try something else," which assumes that he has seen every single instance of me trying to get with a woman and knows for a fact that all of those attempts have been the same thing, which is incorrect. But again, they have to create fan fiction to justify what's happened to you, even though they weren't there. It's just like with the people, and I've seen this a couple of times. They're like, men who get rejected probably did have somebody that liked them, but they didn't like them enough. Like, how do you know that? I mean, people online really, you know what? Just for another Dragon Ball reference, they act like they're Dr. Gero when he had that little bug that was following Goku around and recording all of his matches for between the Red Ribbon Saga and the Saiyan Saga. That little bug that just kept popping up to record everything Goku and his friends were doing. That's how they act. They act as if they have had this little camera and it's shown them everything about. It's like so creepy because again, like I don't understand how where this is lucrative to a fruitful dialogue. Like if you are so desperate to believe someone else is a piece of trash that you have to create scenarios that have happened in their life, I don't want to talk to you. To be fair, there's not an equivalent for women because most people don't expect them to do anything more than breed and look beautiful. Okay, but my point is women come online and complain. I mean, it's not fair. We've already established that, but they come online and they complain about men as well. Okay. They talk about, even if they're not talking about getting rejected by one, they're still making generalized statements about men do this, men do that. And nobody says that because they're critical of men, they're part of romance groups. It just doesn't happen. It's only when a man speaks about being displeased with his relationship status that he must be part of a team, part of a crew. So that was the point I was making, that again, if a term existed for, because I've seen this term used to describe men that are critical of women, right? Like that talk trash about them. But again, women talk trash about men just as often, if not more, or certainly commonly, right? And nobody says they're part of a group that they didn't sign up for. Again, I go over this stuff in the video in a more, I guess, uh, refined manner. That's why I like doing the romance videos with the scripts because there's less slipping of the tongue and people trying to say, "Oh no, this happened." Yeah, this all goes back to how primitive we are. No, it goes back to how we like to, dehumanize the man if he's not with the woman. We have to pretend that. I mean, this happened in November where I had the guy that was talking about go to the gym and I said no, and then a normal person would leave and he starts asking about why are you content with your life and you can't live with only platonic relationships with people. And at the same time as he's saying this, he's saying that the relationships and impact you had on others will matter more than your wealth, uh, which you get how it's like contradictory. You go from saying that someone can't live with only platonic relationships, which is an opinion. That's, there are people who have not been married and not dated that have existed. Uh, And then you also say that someone's relationships are more impactful than their wealth, which is most of your relationships with people are platonic or at least are not romantic. And you have no idea of knowing how well those are because we've never met. You said they have to again creating fan fiction and they're like saying things that are all over the place. Imagine if there was a website like that where you got to make fan fiction about like people in real life. In this story, Music Fiend is married to Rihanna. That'll be a really entertaining website where people create like stories about real life people. I mean, there's fanfics of everything now. I think people have written Trump fanfics, but you know what I'm saying of how they have to create like these ideas of what your life has been like to make themselves feel better about your circumstance. And they have no proof to support any of their positions. They just say things. Just like with the chick that said the thing about how, your personality matters, but in the long term, that same person also said that that she believed I would prematurely stop speaking to a woman who was interested in me after I spoke to her longer than any broad I'd ever spoken to before or since 10 months. And to this day has never explained what could possibly, because this person never saw me interact with another woman like, besides herself or really anybody else because we spoke mostly by the phone. So it's like what basis do you have to draw that conclusion? Or are you just making things up? But again, that's why I don't really the relationship discussions are so awful because it's not people looking at things they can actually prove. They're just saying stuff and hoping that something sticks. This person that spoke to me for almost an entire year would definitely prematurely stop speaking to a woman that liked him. Like an art. No, I think a lot of people just don't, oh yeah, like in art, your feelings matter and whatnot, interpretations and stuff. Um, I don't know. I just find this whole topic to be really off-putting. Like, it's one thing to have a bunch of chicks turn you down, even ones that will sit there and tell you about how much you mean to them in one breath and then, you know, reject you in the other. It's another to come on here and for there to be such a lack of critical thinking. I mean, people almost, I want to believe, are just trolling at this point. Like when I spoke to that broad over the phone and she was talking about what age you'll be when a woman likes you back, it was like a cartoon. Like they actually expect you just as a human being, right, to be devoid of fulfillment with respect to this particular topic and to just keep going on and on year after year, talking to chicks that don't like you back and just waiting for the inevitable day where they say, "Oh, I think you're a nice person, but I'm not interested in you that way." Just over and over again. You're not allowed to retire or quit because it's going nowhere. You're just supposed to be the hamster on the wheel running in perpetuity. And it's like, you must really think so lowly of my life, like devalue me as a person to believe that I should keep doing something that I'm aware is going nowhere and that is factually going nowhere. And like I said, music thing, you can go watch the video. I did two videos where I showed the woman who said that I was too good for her and that she and still rejected me. So like that was the final confirmation of how you can't even trust what they say anymore. If you because most chicks won't say that they think you're too good for them, even ones that you theoretically would be like if you own more or whatever the stuff that they talk about. So even someone like that said no, but you're supposed to still believe in the magic chick that's going to come around and be interested and actually mean it this time. Have any of the people you refer to had any sense of a long-term relationship? Well, that's the thing, that the main ones churning out this advice, like, here, I'll put it to you like this. All the ones that come in my comment section or come on the stream and like try to be antagonistic to me, not a single one of them in the entire 4 years that that's been happening has shown proof that they're with somebody. So like when someone comes to my video and says, you need to go to the gym, usually you can't see their face. Or if they do have a picture, it's like a cartoon or some celebrity. Um, and they never show proof that doing this stuff actually netted them a woman. Like I have like it I would literally drop my jaw from here to the floor if somebody made a video where they said, hey, I'm gonna show him how to get a woman, and here's my girlfriend, and we met at the gym, and then they've got like the big, that's never happened. It's always people hiding behind their keyboard and talking all this trash about what you need to do to get with somebody. So you get what I'm saying? That like none of them have, apparently. Like the ones that criticize me the harshest are just on here. Not a single one has ever shown proof that they're with somebody. Like I could literally make an account right now called then surround yourself with people with similar values. I mean I do. I don't I'm not saying, like I said, they come to me. They're the ones who have such a problem with the love life of another man that they have to type novels. I just think it's funny that, I was just, the more I think about it, it's like not a single guy that comes on here ever shows proof that they're with anybody. I find that really incredible that it took me that long to just notice that trend, that a lot of them don't show, most of them don't show their face, and none of them show proof that they actually are with someone. Like that is hilarious. I didn't even interact with most people. I don't. Yeah, I don't. They come to me. Humans are exhausting. They really know how to tire you out, because you're always sitting there like, really, you guys are going to write this to me today? All right, whatever. I don't get people at all. They write all kind of weird stuff. Imagine telling your, like, if you had a daughter, right? You might actually want to do something with your life, but if you don't get banana, you'll never amount to anything. Like what? Again, you don't. Uh, what's a good way of saying this? There's so much like parallels between the stuff they say on here to me and like the stuff they say classically to women. Like they always talk about how women have their appearances judged harshly compared to men, but I just see a bunch of men talking trash about the way I look on here. I don't really see them, because remember, I don't put up any pictures of women ever. It's always like just me speaking about the way that they act and the things that they do. uh I just find that really ironic that now we've gotten to a point where the things that used to be sexist that were done towards women, when done towards a man, it's okay. That's progress, huh? They always say men and women are watched closely, to which I say I don't care. Well, there's a lot of one-sided caring on this website. Like the guy that wrote that I should do 500 push-ups a day and run 3 miles a week. It's like, first of all, I don't believe you've ever done that. Secondly, that is, if you have to do something as extraneous as half a thousand push-ups every day to maybe get some random woman who, for all we know, doesn't even exercise herself to like you, I'm good. That's like telling somebody that they need to have uh what is it, a tenth of $1 million to maybe get somebody to go on a date. It's like these chicks don't even own anything themselves. And remember, no matter what you have, they're always going to say, based off of them finding the woman prettier than you, that she's out of your league. So, like, again, I could be a millionaire, I could have a mansion, I could have a Lamborghini, but if some broad that lives in a box has a prettier face than me, men on this website will say, "No, she's too good for you. She's too good for you." Telling you, I've never done that to anybody else. Like, if some man shows me some picture of some woman that he likes, I'm not going to sit there and say, I, as a straight man, have concluded that I find you, another straight man, to not be as physically attractive as this one. It's like, talk to whoever you want to talk to. I mean, hell, if she was so out of your league, why did she talk to you for, like, why did they agree to speak to you for weeks or months? It's funny how they always try to like accuse men that are with a woman of having no confidence, but if you really think about it, them telling you that is them trying to get you to not believe in yourself. I mean, you should still work out at least. Oh my God, Music Fiend, you're missing the whole point. No one is here that is upset about someone wanting to work out. The issue here is that your desire to work out, according to these people, is hinged entirely on if you think some random woman who herself could not be working out is going to like this. And I don't do extraneous um project type things to maybe appeal to people I've never met. Like, I think that's stupid. Again, if you want to exercise for your own sake, be my guest. But the idea that you would have to do something like that you're not interested in for the sake of maybe getting someone to go on a date is really insane to me. People just love missing my point on here. I don't agree with busting over 500. No, music thing. If you don't believe me, go watch. I'll show you. I won't link it to you, but I'll tell you what video that was in. 500 push-ups, 1.5 miles of running twice a week. So I said on here, they must really think I'm a superhero. Like, I don't know any person that would be able to do that. How many hours would it even take to do 500 push-ups? Oh, is that the one and only VVS? Is that the true one? Okay, it's the why do women with boyfriends like talking to me? I got the guy's avatar replaced with a clown picture. He actually said, uh, do 500 push-ups a day and run 1.5 miles at least twice a week. You'll see a different person in you. Yeah, a maniac. Let me read what VBS said. It's millions of dudes who don't work out that get what they want. I never understood that. Well, that's what I'm saying, that like people who actually live in the real world, you see different types of men get with women. So for them to like pretend that the only way to get with one, or that getting with one, is hinged almost entirely on how muscular you are is stupid. Well, he turned himself into being banned. That was the only thing his comments accomplished. But again, I don't have a problem with someone wanting to work out. I just don't see the point of doing that to appeal to a random person. And like, what? Remember, muscles are temporary. So is this woman going to leave you when you eventually lose them with old age? Like, I don't get it. It's just like the guy that said, do other things besides being interested in getting with a woman. But it's like, you're telling me to do these other things for the purpose of appealing to women. Like, my interest in these things are still artificial. They're not things I actually like doing. It's still more crap that's being done just to appeal to random chicks. Let's see. No one should do anything. No one owes you a damn thing. The human body couldn't handle 500. Yeah, I don't know anyone who does, like, in my entire lifetime, the people I've known that exercise, I've seen people that do maybe like 40 or 50 a day. Because even 100 is still like, I don't, again, I don't know anyone who does more than a few dozen. The human body couldn't handle 500 push-ups a day. You would eventually tear a muscle from the stress you would put on your body. Well, that's why I said they think I'm a superhero. And remember, he wants you to twice during that week, after or before doing these 500 push-ups, run for a mile and a half. That's why when he left that comment, I thought it was a joke. I was like, what? Who is so childish and just completely not understanding of, I guess, the human body's limits, as to believe that somebody could do 500 push-ups every single day and then like do that on top of running a mile and a half twice a week. And again, you're supposed to do all of that extraneous crap so that a random woman you've never seen before, who's never done a thing to try and impress you, might say yes to going on a date. Hey, remember that scene in Infinity War where Thanos gets punched and he bleeds and he says all that for a drop of blood? It's like all that for for a little day, for a little 1 or 2 hours at the movie theater or at a restaurant. Like imagine you show up with the like enormous, like looking like the Hulk. So I said this is like a cartoon. Like every time people write stuff about this, it feels more and more like it's not even real. Like I'm surprised somebody doesn't write join NASA. That dude's comment was ridiculous, but being athletic does give you more self-esteem and it can attract people. Look, don't talk to me about confidence. If I wasn't confident, I wouldn't be the one showing my face while these people who talk trash about me hide theirs. And like I said, this goes back to the thing of they want you to do one thing and they don't do anything themselves. That guy didn't prove that he does 500 push-ups or runs a mile and a half twice a week. He had a little tiny picture of a close-up of his face, and I'm supposed to believe that he's this athletic expert who and remember what I said, the people who tell you that this trash is going to make a difference never show proof that they're with a woman. I went on that guy's page. There's no video of him and his girlfriend or wife. Not forcing you to work out, though. True. If he proved that he did 500 push-ups, he'd be a vegetable. But that's my point. They have unrealistic fantasies for you as the person that they're supposedly trying to assist. Imagine if I told a woman that to get with me, she had to do 500 push-ups a day and run 3 miles a week. You know how insane I would look for just even saying that with a straight face. Again, that's why I thought that comment was a joke. I was like, this can't be real. Well, again, for me to like actually believe in that stuff, I would have to have a problem with my weight, and I don't. I just think it's really creepy that men on this website will like analyze you so damn much. Because I remember I mentioned that there's a thing that men do where they pause videos of women and then they'll like go to the like videos of the woman and like they'll sit there and like turn the audio off and just like stare at her face and body and what, like they're basically doing that to me. If they're gonna write comments about how big someone's face is compared to the proportions of their torso, like what? And it's like it's men that are that analytical of the appearance of another man. And people don't think that's creepy. You're doing 500 push-ups while she's drinking a milkshake. Yeah, it's gonna be like she's gonna be sitting on my back as I'm doing the push. Seriously, I don't know anybody that could do that, especially not the person who said to do it. Remember, music theme, we talked about that, how there are these like expectations for you, and then the other, like the woman doesn't have to do anything. Like if I was a millionaire and I said I only want to date other women who, like, I want to date women who are millionaires as well, or at least have some large sum of money, people would say, "Oh, your standards are too high. You might be passing up a great person who just doesn't have the amount of money that you have." So again, I would be made to be the villain for doing the thing that people had told me to do, which was have all this money for whatever reason, and then adjusting my standards so that I would lessen the chances of me running into a gold digger. So I said men are set up to fail because when they tell you to do this stuff, if you did any of it and you still weren't able to get with someone, they would still turn around and blame you for it. Just like if I was someone who was muscular and did the 500 push-ups a day and 3 miles a week, and I said I want to be with a woman who does the same amount of exercise, and then people, like I could barely find anybody that was interested, they would say, "Well, see, you have too high standards." But pricks, you're the ones who told him to do this in the first place. Yeah, VVS. I know that. That's why I said I don't believe in any of that trash. But we have romance communism, so everybody has to be the same, like the Borg from Star Trek. Even if you go outside and you see couples that don't look anything like each other, like every time they tell you that there's this thing you have to be to get with a woman, there's always somebody in real life that never has done it, that still ended up with someone. Like I always just remember the dingbat with the baby being homeless and having a boyfriend. I'm like, how did you know damn well that if I was in that state, nobody would be sympathetic towards me. I would get made fun of. People would say I was crazy for thinking a woman would find me attractive in that condition, and it doesn't matter. So I say it's the Twilight Zone. Your personality matters just in the long term because the dating apps have made it to where people are only looking at those they find physically attractive. It's like, yeah, but you get chicks who will still speak to you for weeks or months and then still turn you down anyway. So what difference did your personality make? It just delayed the inevitable. And remember another Thanos line, I'm inevitable. In fact, the people who I know that work out are doing it because they're insecure about their bodies and think working out will fix their body image issues. At this point, all this dating crap tells me I just have to be alone. If I get it, cool. If I don't, great. Well, see, that's the thing that people always pretend that if you get it, it's going to be so amazing and great. But I talked about how the only girlfriend I ever had was this like nice lady who was, decent for like a month. And then when she agreed to be a couple for a whole week, every day, she begged me for money for different things. I was like, this is awful. And again, people they always pretend that those types of needy transformers don't exist because they want to peddle this idea that the dark times are when you're trying to get with someone, but once you get with them, you ride off into the sunset. And it's really stupid because I consulted my father, my grandfather, my best friend consulted his dad, and they all said the same thing, that to get a partner who they spent years with, whether as a married couple or in a long-term relationship with, they had to date multiple people. So if it takes this long and is this extraneous to get one person to agree to go on a date, your chances of finding someone who actually like you become much slimmer than any of theirs ever were. Which again is just more proof that the standards of women have just exceeded any almost like you have to walk on water. Because even if you appeal to them in terms of your personality by the fact that they speak to you for weeks or months, they'll still turn you down. And then you'll be right back to the drawing board trying to figure out what you did wrong, as you have people online telling you about you must have a bad personality and not be likable. But then why would this person speak to you for a prolonged period such as the one that they did? Again, it's literally just this. maze of people saying one thing, reality suggesting another, and you can't win. You get screwed either way. Exactly. Getting it might not even be good. My friend was having a girl seeing her baby father behind his back. Well, again, the thing that with the baby had the guy paying for the storage unit while she was cheating on him and cursing them out. And look, I don't usually get involved in other people's relationships ever because like I think it's stupid. But I know, like, I did see her at the mall one time, hugged up on this other guy, and then they got into an argument days later. That was foreshadowing. But you get my point that because people know it's really difficult for men to get into relationships, they try to pretend that once you get into one, it's going to be this amazing, fantastic thing, and your partner's going to like you so much and all that. So people, they have all kind of delusions. Like I said, when you try to have a partner or get a partner, you're supposed to actually like that person. You're not supposed to be worried that they might not like you because you don't have muscles or $1 trillion or any of this other crap. Never settle for a single mother. You don't have to tell me twice. Oh, remember, we're not allowed to have standards. You have to take whatever comes your way if you're a man. Yeah. But see, that's why I don't understand about people who act like because see, this is what kills me, right? They always pretend that there aren't bad men or men who have done bad things that have gotten a partner. Like they always, when they're talking about the way you look or your personality, they act like there aren't men who abuse their children or who beat their wives. That's why I said there's no nuance. Everything is men who are with women are good, and then men who aren't with women are bad. Like all of us are the antagonist. No, this stuff is insane. They could find they'll find 99 flaws in me from doing a video before they'll find one flaw in a single woman that they'll actually see in person and meet and get to know. Because again, they're not trying to, you know, they're just being as villainous as possible. Like if you did all that exercise crap, they would literally, and you still didn't have a partner, right? They would say, "Oh, you must have not gone to the right places. You must have appeared scared when you approached this woman. You must," they just find 99 excuses to make up for why a person that they don't know is single. And again, if you go and watch that video I did, the like women don't care about you one, I talked about how the thing with the broad who said I was too good for her is like such a thing I still remember as much as I do is because even if you did the stuff they talk about and you met a woman who supposedly liked you as that one claimed to like me, they could just do the exact same thing to you where they pretend they're interested for a week or two or three. And then out of nowhere, there's this quick, swift turn to them saying, oh, no, I was just playing with you. Goodbye forever. I still think it's crazy that a man who says he's not interested in talking to women anymore, like almost 99% of the opposition is other men. Like I said, that's like saying I'm not going to eat at McDonald's anymore and getting death threats from Burger King. You better eat that Big Mac. Like I just find that so weird. It's really crazy. That's why I say I don't get people online at all. No, it really seems like there's almost nothing to gain from this chick stuff because if you're not with one, people attack you and they make all these nasty comments about the way you look or act or with like whatever way they perceive you, right? And then if you're with one, you run the risk of them doing these different gross things to you, whether that's cheating, begging for money, whatever, that people like to conveniently leave out for their narrative that, once you get with the woman, it's so magical and amazing. It's like a Disney movie. Uh, so it's like you're just stuck in this perpetual cycle of don't talk to women and get harassed by other people, usually men, for that decision, or talk to them and either get rejected immediately or in some 2 week, 3 week, month, 2 month period after the person compliments you over and over again and leads you on. And it was funny that they say that people who are part of the I word group are what do you call it? They think they're nice guys. Like, well, I mean, what way am I supposed to act? Am I supposed to go up to them and go, "You better date me?" Like, what other way are you supposed to behave around someone that you're interested in besides being pleasant? Like, I don't really understand. And it's weird too because like if I do a video and I say I was me and this guy were cordial to each other and then all of a sudden he blocked me, people would get why as a person who was decent to this other person, I would be upset that they would act in a like rejecting type manner toward me. It's only with the woman topic where people like I don't know what they want you to do. Like they'll say that you probably felt that this was going to happen because you were nice to this person. Which again, I don't know what other way you're supposed to act towards someone you like. Uh, am I supposed to bully them? But you know what I'm saying? It's just it's really just a maze of people just saying whatever is possible to justify this. Now, I'm not laughing, Music Fiend. This is insane. That's why that one guy said, "Talk. It'll be easier to go in a thunderstorm and dodge rain than to get a woman who agreed to go on the date. It's easier to sneeze with your eyes open than get a woman to agree to eat at a restaurant or go to see a movie with you." We already talked about the one broad who said she banged some guy that she didn't have any feelings for, but then wouldn't go on a date with someone she didn't have any feelings for. So you'd rather run the risk of catching an STD than go to see a film with me. Like that's what you can infer from what's being said. Oh, I just don't like going on date. Yeah. Okay, person with fiance. I guess you and him were just gonna talk on the phone. They always have that convenient excuse. Now people just say whatever to defend chicks. It's really sad. The internet just shows how desperate some of us are to, I guess, just not think critically. Like I don't just blindly defend men like they do chicks. And people really run out of things to say. I hadn't seen VVS in so long. He vanished and then he reappeared for this special guest appearance. Because after he became a celebrity, he didn't show up as much. He started hanging out with the Hollywood crowd. And we would roll out the red carpet for him on the street. I was very surprised to see you again. I thought you getting ready to have a biopic made on your life story. That'd be funny if they actually like a movie where it's like different actors playing you and you're like narrating. This is the first time a woman said no to me, and this is when I first came online, and people started calling me a stupid word that means nothing anymore. Because that's how it was for me. Like the 2015, 2016 period, where every day I was just going on Reddit and the R4R, just messaging different chicks just over and over. And it really started to feel like it was a sitcom. Like every episode, there's a new chick, and then each one lasts for either one episode or a couple of episodes, and then just it just replays over. because I really said there's no way you can approach like a number that you can't even count anymore and still get turned down. Like there's no way you can talk to 100 of them and they all say no. It's like that's really what happened. And usually what ends up happening is they either will outright say no or they just stop responding. Like there's a lot of them where it's like it's a pleasant dialogue and they just don't say anything anymore. I still remember the one guy that said, to get with a woman, you have to go to the gym every day, and then when you get with one, you still go, but just not daily anymore. I'm like, who has the time to go to the gym? And this is before COVID. It's like, who has the time to go there every day? But that's what I was talking about. People want you to make these like weird life affirming commitments on the premise of maybe getting a random woman to like you, and I just don't think it's worth it. And like I said, the dirty little secret that people don't want to address is that there are a lot of bad things that can happen to you if you get with someone. I mean, for 5 years, from 2011 up until 2016, yeah, who has the time for that? I laughed as well, but it was also disturbing that, again, your life means so little that you're supposed to insert going to this building right every day for chicks you've never even heard of or seen that don't even possibly like you back. Supposed to do all that just for them, and it's like whatever. But the dirty secret is that people like to pretend that getting into a relationship automatically is a good thing, and that there's nothing bad that can happen to you, and that for me, the period of 2011, 2016 was literally people just gassing me up. Oh yeah, man, when you get in a relationship, it's so great, it's so amazing. Blah, blah, blah. And then you get with a woman, and all she does after being nice to you for a month is go and then beg you for money every day for a week until you block her number. It was the most anticlimactic thing I'd ever seen. I mean, like it was like all of that years of talking to all these different chicks just for the one that finally says yes to end up like that. And again, that's not even counting the ones that will cheat on you, the ones that will curse you out, or I mean, it's just there's so much stuff that goes wrong, and it sucks that men, because they have such a hard time getting one to just say yes, will put up with that stuff because of how limited their options are. Like that guy that the dingbat with the baby was with, never been with another woman. And that's why he kept putting up with it, because he was afraid that if this person left him, he would never get with anyone again. I'm just grateful for the internet because it's great to know you're not alone. Like I said, I used to believe that I was the problem and had 99 flaws, and then I found out my best friend, who I thought was perfect, I thought the world of him, uh, had the same problem, and I just couldn't believe it anymore. I thought too highly of him to have my opinion diminished because he didn't appeal to random chicks who, by and large, aren't accomplished, aren't amazing. And I would say the same thing about random men, but again, it's like you're supposed to be this superhero or like this extraordinary person to appeal to people that haven't done anything other than, having a taco, a triangle between their legs. That's their accomplishment. That's what makes them worthy of all this effort. No, and I found out that this, literally, this person I believed in entirely was struggling with the same issue. That's when I knew we have to take a critical eye and think about how insane these chicks are for turning someone down like that over and over. They picked the wrong person to reject, because like that is the direct reason why I stopped not believing in myself on this topic. I just said, yeah, this is their fault. It wasn't even, I mean, like seeing all the message boards with men talking about how hard it was to get with somebody was also proof, but that particular man getting to, I was like, no, no, there's something wrong with them. You have people on here that actually say seek mental help for like not getting with them. Like, so your mental health is hinged on somebody else agreeing to go on a date with you. Just like there's another person who tried to like was saying, "Oh, you must be homosexual." Like your sexuality is hinged on someone else's decisions. Like imagine if I turned down a woman, like if I just said to this woman, "I'm not interested in you," and then people start saying that she must be a lesbian because I said I'm not interested in her. Like how insane is that? But again, people love doing this online. They love to pretend that you can just make all these simplified excuses for why this is happening to somebody. And again, because you're a man, your life is supposed to not matter as much as a woman. So when people, if you turn down women, nobody would ever say that they need to change who they are to appeal to someone like you because they don't consider you to be the all deciding guide of who's good and who isn't. But if a random woman turns you down, oh, you must change who you are and transform, and you and the rest of the Autobots have to switch it up. Imagine going to the, because I went on Reddit every day for like a whole year and nothing changed. Except I had an inbox filled with chicks that were playing with me. That's the only difference. Now every time I go on the R for R section, I just laugh. I'm like, yeah, people still are talking to him. Good luck beating out the other 50 guys talking to that one woman. I hope you can make it. I hope you pull a rabbit out of a hat. I still, in the video, I talk about the one broad that had, she said many and many messages or something that wasn't a specific number, but she ended up getting with a guy in real life. So literally every single person that messaged her and wanted to get with her wasted their time. Like everybody, all the men lost. Your whole identity is based off female approval. All the self improvement crap is dead once a woman approves of you. Yeah, all of it is hinged on some random broad. And like I said, if this woman was a famous actress, right, I could understand the need to, I guess, be more well known. If this woman I wanted to get with was an Olympic gymnast, I can understand going to the gym. But these are just random women, and people expect you to do these, again, extraneous things that you're not interested in for somebody else that you've never even met. It'd be different if they said, "Man, I want you to go to the gym because you'll be an inspiration for your brother or your son or some other person that you love that I don't know doesn't exercise." No, these just random chicks you're supposed to go to the gym for and do all this stuff to impress, to maybe impress. I just think the whole process is very dumb. And again, if all chicks are going to exist as is a way for people to attack me, like to say I'm a piece of crap, then I don't really see a point in like engaging with them anymore. Think about it. If you were a woman and every time you spoke to a man, they said they weren't interested, and then women online called you a lesbian or tried to like say you need to change the way you look and act and all these other things to maybe get a man to like you, would you do it? Or would you say this is ridiculous? These men as a collective are not worthy of all of this effort? Imagine doing all that stuff and still getting rejected. Like imagine spending years at the gym, right? And then you go and approach like 20, 30, 40 women and they all say no. Like online and in person, they all say no. Would you really be happy or would you be pissed? It's like I did all this stuff and these heifers still like you get my point that they set men are set up to fail because you're told to do extraneous things that you're only doing to get with the woman. And then when the woman says no, predictably, and you could predict this because how many times I've known in the past, you're not expected, you're made fun of for naturally being upset that your efforts did not accomplish anything other than waste your time. And like, oh, but look, now you're in such shape, but you didn't care about the way you looked before. You were fine with who you were before. So I said the whole thing is just this big it's just you running in a circle. Exactly. I know damn well I'm not talking to them like this guy and everything we do is based off if we enjoy it or have fun from it. I don't have fun pursuing or talking to women anymore. Well, that's what kills me because again, relationships, right? The romantic ones are optional. You don't have to date a woman like that. That's not something you have to do. You're supposed to do it because you enjoy it, because you like the person likes you as well. And when you're told to do copious amounts of exercise to maybe get a random woman to speak to you, it's not enjoyable. That's not fun. Just like if you get with a woman and she starts begging you for money, you would enjoy that? Really? If you get with a woman and she starts cheating on you, you would say this is fulfilling. This is something I'm glad that I am in. But like I said, people downplay all of this stuff because relationships, again, romantic relationships for men are no longer meant to be something you actually enjoy. It's the stuff of you doing extraneous steps to get the slightest, tiniest effort or interest from women, and then being expected to eat those little scraps. But then if someone has a triangle between their legs, they get whatever they want. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to do anything, and they get to people to just start approaching and talking to them, and they're fine as they are. They're perfect in their own way. Again, it's not. There's nothing wrong with actually wanting to enjoy romantic relationships. That's kind of the point. But because so much of it is based off of finding 99 ways to have a problem with the man, it's not enjoyable anymore. It's just people, saying nasty stuff on the computer and in real life to a person and then being surprised when they think it's not worth their time. Look, I'm gonna get off of here. I've talked long enough. Again, relationships that are optional, so not your employer, not someone you work for, you're supposed to like them. And I find it very difficult to like talking to people who I'm told to do extraneous things to appeal to. Because again, I've met people who like me for who I was, and I don't. I'm more content to talk to those people than a bunch of chicks that don't care about me as a person. BBS, that woman transformed a 1 month of, oh, how are you doing? Are you all right? Are you okay? To, can you buy me this? Can you buy me that? Can you buy me this? Can you buy me that? Can you buy me this? And again, that's the kind of stuff they always leave out because they want to sell you this idea that the awful times are when you're looking for a woman. And then if one agrees with you, you ride off into the sunset. When in reality, the easiest part is supposed to be initiating it. And in the Pandora's box is all the crazy crap that can happen if you're with that person. But they leave it out because a lot of them are more aware of how many men are having this problem and they want to keep you on a damn string being juggled back and forth without getting anything from your efforts. And then being surprised when you look at that unfair, ungrateful system and see how you're rewarded. So have a good day.